Thank you, Valerie. Thank you so much. Well, welcome in. My name is Lisa. Happy to be here with you this morning, teaching this class. I should say leading this class. If you have been in my class before, you know that I am here to give suggestions, really, and that's it. You can take those suggestions and use them as you need to this morning. So I'm giving a shout out. My organization is the YMCA of San Diego. Most specifically, our Live Strong at the Y program. That's a fitness and wellness program for cancer survivors. And I think I see a need in there. Yeah, one of our participants there. This is a program that's provided free to participants in the community. You don't have to be a member of the YMCA to participate. And this is not just here in San Diego, this is really all over the country. So if you're in need of that or know someone that could benefit from a program like that, you can contact your local Y and find out where they might have a program going. And even in these times where we're staying at home and we're not gathering together for indoor fitness, we actually have begun a virtual Live Strong at the YMCA program. And so perhaps the local YMCA near you is participating in that as well. So if you feel so inspired, you can click on that donation link and donate. Right now is our annual campaign where we raise money for our scholarship programs like Live Strong at the YMCA. These are the programs that we give away free or supported to our community. So I thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy to see all of these faces from all over the place, lots of different places. I see several of my German friends there too. A little shout out to Germany. Thank you so much for joining me in the evening for an evening practice. As we look out at all these faces when we start our class, we see so many different people, different places, but we have such a shared identity when we really start looking into it. I mean, how many of us have pets? Do you have a pet? I have 3 pets and chickens. They let me pet them too, so they can be pets as well. Kids or people that you call your children, we all have things in common, and it's this shared identity that can really help us bring us together even when we're having to stay a little bit apart now. So let's get started with our practice. We're gonna meet on the mat. If you have a yoga block and have that available, that would be great. If not, just a folded up towel would work too. You may possibly want to practice with the strap just to extend your reach at points in time, but all of those pieces of equipment are just optional. We don't have to have those. So if you have the Spotify link and would like to use music in your practice, you can click on that link now, and I'll meet you over here on the mat. We'll come into a seated position, anything that's comfortable for you. And so you might want to, if you're working with a block or a cushion, you may want to sit up onto that block or cushion. You could cross your legs or straighten your legs out. Maybe you even have a chair nearby. You just want to park it on a chair. Maybe that's the most comfortable place for you. So find that place. We'll settle into that place. And as you begin to settle in, you can choose if you'd like to close your eyes or leave your eyes open. Do what makes you feel the most relaxed. Spend just a few moments here grounding yourself in this place and grounding yourself in your practice. Saying to yourself, now this is yoga. Now my practice has begun. I've been practicing for myself outdoor classes for months and months now, and we practice in all different kinds of environments. So I would ask you to invite your attention to move out into your environment that's around you. And just notice all the things that are existing in the environment right now. It's possible that you have a very quiet place that you're at now. And perhaps there's things that you can hear outside or other people in your space. Let your attention notice those things so that your brain feels comfortable about the place that it's at. And as we practice outdoors, I've been asking my students to just give permission for all those things to be there. Give permission for all the sensations in your external environment all around you. Knowing that those things are not there to bother you, they're just simply existing. And then gather your attention a little closer in to you and turn that attention around. Notice your interior landscape. Notice what you notice about the experience in your body right now, in this moment. And notice your breath as it moves in and as it moves out. We'll use our breath as a kind of a beacon, a kind of a lighthouse for our attention. And when our attention wanders off to other places, just let your breath be the beacon of focus that brings it back to you, back to this present moment. We'll be here for 2 more cycles of breath. If your eyes are closed, let them blink, blink open, keeping them very soft. If you do have a block, using that now. Otherwise, you could fold a towel. Maybe use a book in that shape and put a towel on top of it to make it softer. And so we're going to come into a supported back bend to start our practice today. Coming down onto your back. Keep the knees bent and use the elbows to help us lower down onto this block. And then we want to place the bottom tips of the shoulder blades here at the front edge of the block. So help yourself on down there. Find that edge of the block with the bottom tips of the shoulder blades. And as you come down, we'll gently tuck the shoulder blades in so that we feel that our shoulder blades are moving in and up. Now, as your head drops back, if that's too far back, you can place something back there, a little pillow or a towel, something to make you comfortable. And you can choose if you want to keep the knees bent or if you want to straighten out your legs. Do what makes your back feel the most comfortable. Notice, if you will, the fronts of the shoulders, the place where the chest and the upper arm bone come together, and see if you can soften that place. And bring your attention into the front of the throat and ask the front of your throat to soften. Feel where your shoulder blades are resting on the block, like on a little shelf. And that block is gently lifting the shoulder blades in and up to the back of the heart. And we'll be here for just 2 more cycles of breath. As you're ready to, if your legs are straight, bend your knees and place the feet down onto the mat. We can bend at the elbows too to help us lift up. And don't feel like you have to lift your head straight up. We can let the head be heavy. Shift your hips to one side, roll your body to the other side, and use your hands to help lift you back up. Come back up into that seated position where we started out before. And just take a little pause in our practice to notice what might be different. You can close your eyes if that's comfortable or leave them open. Perhaps noticing the front body, maybe there's still that sensation of stretch or opening happening across the front. Maybe there's still a residual feeling of support in the upper back and the shoulder blades. And if your eyes are closed, let your eyes open. We'll come over onto hands and knees. And we'll work through scapular push-ups, but don't think about them as being push-ups where we bend the elbows. It's keeping the arms long and straight and simply feeling the shoulder blades move on the back, which may be interesting, especially if you were using the block before to support them. So we come into a neutral table. As you're ready to, let your shoulder blades gently slide together. And as they do, your chest will slide down between your upper arm bones. And then we can push the floor away and let the shoulder blades slide apart. And then that space between the shoulder blades, the back of the heart, will begin to puff up. And try that again, sliding the shoulder blades together and then sliding the shoulder blades apart. We'll do that one more time. Feel the slide and glide of the shoulder blades across the upper back. We'll come back into neutral table. And from here, come up to a kneeling position. I'm just going to face forward so that you can see what I'm doing. You can face the way you like. From this kneeling position, we'll move into Gait Pose, extending one leg out to the side. You can choose both sides. The side that you're kneeling on, we'll take that arm up. Big inhale breath here. With the exhale breath, side bending toward your extended leg. If your shoulder doesn't love up, you can always leave the arm down and continue with the side bend. Breathe into your side waist. Breathe into your side ribs. Create space along the side of the body. One more inhale breath takes us up. Exhale breath, come back down. We'll change sides. Leg extends out, up to kneeling. Inhale, the arm comes up. Exhale, the body tilts to the side. Rolling the lifted shoulder back, lifting the chest up and lengthening the spine. Creating space along the side of the body, breathing into only the side, but breathing into the ribs. Take one more big inhale breath here. And with the exhale breath, release back down. We'll come back down to hands and knees, returning to table, and feel your spine is in neutral here in table. From table, let's begin to tilt the pelvis forward. So that's the action of lifting the sit bones up. And we feel an arch begin to happen at the low back. We can move that up into the mid back. We can move it up into the neck as well, but let's think about lifting the back of the neck up rather than lifting the chin really high. And reverse that, dropping the tailbone down. So we're flattening out the low back. And the belly muscles will draw in and up to create that arch in the back of the heart, rising up. And the back of the neck drops down. Let's move with our breath now. Inhaling, arching the back, and exhaling, rounding. So creating this wave-like motion in the spine. Of course, the spine is really moving together, but we can think about those three different areas: low back, mid back, upper back, neck. And just bring some movement into the back. One more time, inhaling and exhaling. And we'll come back to neutral table. Come up to kneeling just one more time. And from this kneeling position, feeling like our hips are right on top of the knees and the shoulders. Take the inhale, lift the arms up. Again, if your shoulders don't love up, we can always leave the arms down too. Feel the length that's created in your side waist as we lift up. So the side waist is drawing in and up. The actions of our back bending, the back of the heart, that space between your shoulder blades, is pressing in and up toward the front of the chest. And the upper arm bones are moving back. The tops of the shoulders soften down away from your ears. We can bring the elbows out, bent elbows, cactus arms, pressing the elbows back, rising the chest up. We can lower the arms down. We need to press the arms back, finding all of those actions of our back bending. Side waist, in and up, back of the heart, in and up, and the upper arm bones back. And we can start to reach behind it. Palms face in. If it feels good, you can clasp the hands together behind you. Upper arm bone down. Back down. The knees, and I would ask you to come onto the forearms just for a moment so that you can see some options. Your hands, if your wrists don't like the pressure of being on top of them, always come to the forearms. So we'll lower down onto the forearms and find that cow and cat motion once again. Now it's going to be a little different here down on the forearms, maybe not as broad, maybe not as big, but find that arch and rounding of the back. Next time you arch the back, stay there. Big inhale breath here. With the exhale breath, round the back up and then send the hips back towards child's pose. You can extend the arms out if it feels good. You can bring the forehead down to the mat. Know that you can move the knees open as wide apart as you need, or you could close them up too. With an inhale breath, begin to round the back up as we lift back up to hands and knees. With the exhale breath, feel like you're sending your hips forward and down toward your wrists. And we can lower down onto the arms and bring the hips forward and down toward the elbows. So options for us up on the hands or down on the elbows. We'll try that again. So if you're staying on the forearms, stay down there. Otherwise, we can come up onto the hands. Big inhale breath, arch the back for cow. With the exhale breath, stay here and round the back up for cat. Then sink the hips back and the arms stretch forward for child's pose. With an inhale breath, come back up toward table, arching back. With the exhale breath, we can turn the toes under and find downward facing dog. Now, your down dog may be standing on the hands and the knees, so we could walk the hands further out. Or you might like to stand on your feet, lifting the hips up. Find the down dog that your body needs today in this moment. Then we can pedal the feet, shift the hips, wiggle around. Know that your heels never have to come to the ground here. We're just letting gravity sink the heels in that direction. Take a moment here, in whatever shape of down dog you're practicing today, to reconnect to your breath. Reconnect to this moment of a shared experience that we're all having here on the mat together. Take one more breath here. As you're ready to, look forward between the hands. We're going to walk the feet forward if you're standing on the feet. If you're on the knees, we're finding our way into a half fold in front of the mat. We'll bring the hands up onto the shins, soften through the knees, extend through the spine. Big breath in here. As you breathe out, your choice, if you'd like to dive a little deeper into the fold, we could do that. Otherwise, stay in the half fold place. With your next inhale breath, we all meet back in half fold, extending the spine. Heart center is lifting up and out. We'll lead with the heart center as we rise up, pressing down into the heels. Arms can come overhead if you like, or leave them down. Big breath in. Breathe out if the arms are lifted. Lower them back down. So I'm just going to turn and face you. Come to mountain pose anywhere that you like on your mat. Standing in mountain. We'll extend the arms out to the sides. Let the palms face forward for now. One hand, I'm not sure if Zoom reverses us or not, so I'm just going to say a hand will come to the back of your head. The other hand, turn the thumb down, palm out, and bring it to the low back. Put your cow head arms on. So it doesn't matter if the hands are close to each other or not. We're pressing the elbows back and softening the shoulders down away from the ears. We can practice contentment here, just being content with where the hands go today. Take one more breath here. And as you're ready to extend the arms back out, lower them down, give your shoulders a good roll. Up, back, and down, and roll them forward. Inhale and extend the arms back out to the sides. Change sides, so other hand comes to the back of the head, press the elbow back, thumb down, palm out, moving it to the low back. Press the elbows back. Soften the shoulders down, lift the heart center up. Just notice how it may be different on this side. Maybe a little, maybe a lot. And take an inhale breath and expand the arms out. Exhale breath and lower the arms down. We'll come back to the front of the mat. Take an inhale breath and rise the arms up. Exhale breath and fold. That could be a full fold or a half fold. Inhale breath, we all meet in half fold. With the exhale breath, step one foot back to lunge and step the other foot back to downward facing dog. You're standing on the feet or lowering down onto the knees. Big breath in. As you breathe out, lower down to the knees, we'll find table. Inhale breath, arching the back for cow. Exhale breath, stay here around the back for cat, and then shift back towards child's pose. With an inhale breath, rising back up, arching the back. And with the exhale breath, downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, look forward toward the hands. Any way you want to get there, step, float feet forward, come to half fold. And with the exhale breath, you could stay there or dive a little deeper in. Inhale breath, press down into the feet to rise up. Arms may be floating overhead. And exhale, lower the arms down to your sides. So once again, I'll turn and face you so that you can see what I'm doing here. Bring the feet together in mountain pose. And with an inhale breath, we'll pick up one knee, we could say the right knee, and maybe the arms float out to the sides. If balance is working for you, keep the foot lifted. Otherwise, we can always put the foot down too. Teach our body how to balance. Side waist is hugging in and up. Back of the heart lifting up toward the front of the chest. From crane pose, knee lifted, floating, begin to step the foot back. So you may want to float, perhaps, through Virabhadrasana 3. Flying warrior. Tap the foot back or step the foot back. We all find a high lunge position. Inhale, maybe the arms come up. We can always leave them down too. With the exhale breath, press down into the back foot and open out to the side. Virabhadrasana 2. So I'll turn to the front of me. Front knee is bending as deeply as it can, tracking straight forward. Maybe even take a little peek to see what's happening there. We don't have to bend the knee deep. And forward. You're ready to. And bring it to the back of your head. And if you were looking to the front, look to the side now. And then the back hand, thumb down, palm.
Hey, Lisa. This is Valerie. Your audio is cut out. It sounds like a connection.
Okay. Is it better now?
Yes, thank you. I can hear you. I'm so sorry to interrupt.
Excellent. No, that's okay. That's all
Okay,
right. I'm
great.
glad you did. I could go on and on. So we find ourselves back in Vira 2. Cow head arms on. Hopefully you can hear me now. The elbows are pressing back, tops of the shoulders softening down. Lift the heart center up and drop the tailbone down so that we have some stability through the center that helps us to find the stretch here across the chest and the front shoulder. As you're ready to, take an inhale breath, expand the arms back out. With the exhale breath, turning toward the front of the mat, we'll pick up the back heel. It gets a little wobbly. We can tap the foot in and find high lunge. We'll leave the arms extended out to the front here. As you're ready to, step onto the front foot. We'll take just a little balance challenge here as we step onto the foot. Arms can do what you need to do for balance and float the heel behind us. So it's a kind of a floating dancer. We'll tap the foot back down and then float the heel behind. We'll do that a few times. And if you want to hold on to something, if you're near a chair or a ledge or a wall, you can hang on to that for balance help anytime you need it. So kicking the heel in, squeeze the back of the leg. Maybe you choose to stay there just for a moment and feel the work on the back of the leg, and then feel the work on the front of the leg as you extend it back out. You might choose to practice your balance here by lifting and staying, maybe floating a hand back We could find a floating dancer, or if you'd like to connect hand to foot or use a strap. Maybe we stay in this kind of preparatory position with the knee not lifting so high behind us, but pulling the heel in and getting a stretch across the front of the thigh. Take one more breath in wherever you are. And as you're ready to release the foot back down, find your high lunge again. Big breath in. Breathe out, bring hands to the mat. Step back to table, hands and knees. Inhale, breath back. Exhale, breath around. Sink back for child's pose. Start with the inhale breath. Let's come forward. Hips moving forward and down, either into Sphinx. We could come into a kneeling upward facing dog, or if that's in your practice, you could lift the knees, lift the fronts of the thighs up off the mat. Take a big breath in here. As you breathe out, gather into your belly. We'll move back into downward facing dog. Take a breath here, a breath or two or three. Reconnect to your breath. Reconnect to that idea that all over the world right now, there's somebody else doing this practice with you. As you're ready to look forward, feet, step, walk, hop forward, come to half fold, extend the spine. You could stay there or dive a little deeper in if that feels good for you. With the inhale breath, we all look up. We all rise up to raised hands. Exhale breath, bring the arms down by your sides. So we're moving on to the other leg. You'll change legs. Inhale breath and pick up the other knee. Find this crane balance. And once again, you may want to lean toes down on the mat. Maybe you want to pick the knee up to hip height, whatever feels good for you. As you're ready to, float the foot back. Maybe you come through flying warrior balance if you'd like to. Or maybe we're tapping the foot back to find high lunge. However you want to get there, find high lunge. Big breath in. As you breathe out, opening up to the side. So I'm finding myself on the same side. I'm going to change sides, but probably moved on to your other side. Front knee is bending. Let it track out over the midline of the foot. We'll take the front hand and bring it to the back of the head, finding those familiar cow head arms again in the back, thumb down, palm out. Noticing if maybe, possibly, there's a little more warmth in the shoulders now. Maybe the arms want to go just a little further. As you're ready to, take an inhale breath, extend the arms out. With the exhale breath, turn toward the front. We're sweeping the back arm around to the front. We'll pick up the back heel. It gets a little wobbly there. Tap the foot in. Find high lunge position. So we're going to try that balance on the other side now. Stepping onto the front foot. Arms can do whatever they need. They could be out or down or up, whatever they need to help you balance. Step onto the front foot and kick the heel behind you. And we'll tap it back down. So kicking the heel up and tapping it back down. Feel the hamstrings working to lift the heel up toward your bottom. Feel the front of the thigh working to extend the leg back out. Getting nice and warm. Maybe you'd like to stay and float the heel up. You might want to move into kind of a floating dancer, or perhaps you want to connect hand to foot. Wherever we are, all you need to do is breathe. Take one more breath here. If the foot is lifted, let's float it back. Find our high lunge again. Just turning toward the front of my mat here. Big breath in, the arms can come up. Breathe out, bring the hands down to the mat. Come down to hands and knees. Inhale and arch the back. Exhale, round the back cat, then shift back towards child's pose. On the hands, or you could be on the forearms, shifting the hips forward and down, either for Sphinx, perhaps a kneeling upward facing dog, or pressing into the tops of the feet to float the fronts of the thighs. Take a big breath in here. And as you breathe out, let's move back to downward facing dog. On your knees, we could practice dolphin instead with the forearms down and the hips up. when that's better for your hands or for your wrists. Wherever you are, we're moving toward the front of the mat. When you're ready to, stepping, hopping, floating the feet forward, come to half fold. With the exhale breath, move into forward fold. Rise to raised hands. With the exhale breath, bring your arms to your sides. From our mountain pose, step the right foot back into high lunge. Take a big breath in, the arms rise up. With the exhale breath, we're floating the hands down for low lunge. Now, hands could move on to the thigh if that works better for you. Maybe you have a set of blocks that you're working with, or you could bring fingertips to the ground. Big breath in, lift the chest, lengthen the spine. We'll drop the back knee. Inhale breath, the chest rises up. Maybe we even lift the chin this time. And with the exhale breath, let the head shift back towards split. And we'll tuck the chin in, round the back a bit. Move back and forth with your breath. Inhaling, lifting, exhaling, and rounding. No, to come into low lunge, shifting the hips forward and down, we'll stay there. Leave your front hand down. And the hand that's closest to the leg in front, I'm trying not to give directions because I'm not sure how Zoom presents the video. So hand in front comes onto the thigh. We're moving into a revolve. Begin to roll open toward your front leg. I'm just going to change sides so that you can see me. Rolling open toward your front leg. Your belly button is rotating in. It's for the inner thigh of the front leg. We're lifting the chest up and lengthening the spine. And we're trying to keep the hips as square as we can so that we can get the rotation in the mid-back. If it feels good for you, we could take that front hand and reach it up into a cactus arm. So bending up at the elbow, lengthening the spine. Shoulder blade will be squeezing in toward the spine. We could stay here, or if you'd like to, we could begin to circle the arm. Make that circle just as big as your shoulder needs it to be. Take one more inhale breath here. And with the exhale breath, lower the hand down. Front foot, slide back. Come down. We're going to lower all the way down onto the abdomen. Slide outside the shoulders, maybe slightly forward from here. Let the pelvis be heavy and the legs will stay extended and down onto the mat. We can lift the heads of the shoulders up away from the mat, from the ground, and begin to lift from the back of the heart. That's rising the torso up. We're using a little push in the arms to lift into this Cobra Backbend. Take one more inhale breath here. And with the exhale breath, lower back. Let's move with that. Remember that this Cobra, if your hands or wrists don't like it, Cobra could. Take an inhale breath, rise up. Exhale breath and lower down. Look for the same motion in the spine that we were experiencing in cow and cat.
Hey, Lisa, your mic cut out again. Wait, there you are. There you are.
I think it needs to be pointing toward the pointing toward the computer.
Sorry about that. I still can't hear you. I heard you for a moment. It feels like there's just a connection thing.
I think it has to be pointing in the right direction. Maybe I should spend a little more on my mic. So I'll stand up, as I usually do in my class, to demonstrate Crocodile Pose, because the forehead is resting on the backs of the hands, the body is on the mat here, but our legs are out in a V shape, and there's some turnout happening. Thigh bone and the hip joint turn out so that your knees and your toes are pointed out to the side. Another option for us here in Crocodile, if you'd like to experience a little bit more back bending, is to come up onto the elbows and clasp opposite hand up toward opposite shoulder. Again, you could imagine that I'm laying on the mat here, up on the elbows, and you can rest your chin on your wrist, or maybe the back of the hand, so that the neck is relaxed and supported, but then we're experiencing this back bend. And I'll do that down here. I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear me, so I'll do it so you can see it. Let your hips be heavy. Let the legs be heavy. As you're ready to, let's come back up to hands and knees. Walking the legs back in together. And from hands and knees, let's step the other foot forward. So you choose which leg you are not. The other foot comes forward. And we'll come back into low lunge. Again, hands might be on the ground, blocks, maybe forearms resting on your thighs. So we'll take the front leg hand up onto the thigh, help us to rotate open toward that front leg, lifting the chest, lengthening the spine. Keeping the hips squared. You could think about the front leg sit bone pulling back and down toward the extended leg heel. And from here, we can take the arm up and out, cactus arm. See how your shoulder likes that. Remember that we can always put it back down if it's not working on this side. Let the shoulder blade hug in toward the spine and keep lifting your chest up. Your head doesn't have to turn to the side. We could move it back to a more neutral place if that feels better for your neck. Take a big breath in here. And as you breathe out, let's begin our arm circles. See how that feels. Maybe a different experience on this side. Take one more inhale breath here. And with the exhale breath, let the hand float back down to the mat. Slide the front foot back to hands and knees. We'll lower back down to the mat again. I'm just going to turn and face you so that you can hear me for sure. So come back down onto the mat. We'll do some Cobra Lifts here. This time we're not going to use our hands. So hips come down, hands float up. We'll leave the legs down behind us. Take an inhale breath and rise up. Remember, I'm just going to come up so that you can hear me, but you're down doing your Cobra Lifts. Inhaling, rising up. Feel the back body working to create that lift for you. Instead of using the pushing muscles here in the arms, pushing muscles in the chest, it's all about the back body. So just a few more breaths, a few more lifts. Inhaling and exhaling to lower down. Take one more. Let that one be your last one. And you can once again rest the forehead on the backs of the hands. Your legs could remain in neutral, or if you'd like to, slide them out into a V shape, toes and knees angling out for crocodile. And again, an option in crocodile is to come up onto your elbows, let the hands rest, opposite hand to opposite shoulder. The chin can bow forward and rest on the wrist or the back of the hand. So we're supporting the neck, but we're getting this nice back bend through the rest of the back. Wherever you're at, breathe. Reconnect to your breath. Reconnect to this experience that you're having here in this moment with the body that you brought to the mat. Connecting to the idea that there are other lovely humans out there in the world doing the same thing with you now. If the legs are out in a V shape, let's tuck the toes under and walk the legs back to a more neutral place. Bend at your knees, and we'll just let the feet, let the shins windshield wiper from side to side. Enjoy this gentle movement of the thigh bone and the hip joint. Gentle twist for the spine. Gentle twist, but so beneficial, very hydrating for the tissues, the muscles, the discs that support our spine. As you're ready to, Bring the legs back down. We'll bring the hands up underneath the shoulders, and we'll all come back up to hands and knees. I'm just going to turn and face forward so that you can see me and hear me too. And we're going to return to the gait pose, extending one leg out to the side, toe tips just about even with the kneeling knee. We'll come up into a kneeling position. Inhale breath, the arm comes up if that feels good for you. Exhale breath, side bend. Maybe there's something different about gait pose now since we've been moving for a while. Take an inhale breath, come back up. With the exhale breath, lifted hand is coming up and over, maybe onto a block, fingertips to the ground. Other arm comes up and over if you like. If that doesn't feel good, we could always take the arm behind the back as well and roll the top shoulder back. Keep lifting the chest up and lengthening the spine. Keep breathing. We're coming back up. If it feels good to you to rise back up out of this side bend, you can. Otherwise, we can walk the hands around to the front and we'll change sides. Kneeling, inhale, kneeling leg, arm comes up. Exhale, up and over side bend. Inhale breath, rising back up. With the exhale breath, hand comes down onto a block or fingertips down to the mat. Other side, arm can come up and over, or we can tuck the arm behind, let the palm face out, and roll the shoulder back. As you're ready to, either hugging into the sideways to rise back up, or we can lower the hands down and walk them around to the front. We'll come on to hands and knees. Take just a moment to think about the kind of back bend that you might like to practice as we're working our way toward the end of our practice today. So you might like to return to standing and experience the dancer pose as we did before. And we're teasing that out a little bit earlier in our body. So if you'd like that balance challenge, you can come up to standing. And if you would prefer to take a prone back bend facing forward, you can lower down to your abdomen. So I think I'll do standing just to make sure that you can continue to hear me, but know that you can see those prone back bends we've already experienced. Sphinx pose with the palms facing down, arms extended out in front. Cobra pose as well. You could work with locust, extending the arms back behind and lifting the legs. And maybe you'd like to try bow pose, bending at the knees and clasping hands onto the ankles. So however you'd like to practice your back bend, let's do that now. If you're standing as I am, we'll stand in whatever area you'd like and step one foot back. Remember that you can always use balance help. That's teaching your body how to balance. So if you've got a chair or a ledge or a wall, use that. As you're ready to, kicking the heel up behind, maybe clasping onto the ankle. The arm can lift up and out any way that you'd like. Just turn around this way to make sure you can hear me. Practicing dancer involves wobbling too, right? We might expand that out a little more, maybe lifting the leg behind. Find all the actions of our back bend. So the sideways draws in and up, the shoulder blades move up and into the back of the heart, chest rises up. Wherever you're at, standing or lying on your belly, take one more breath in. And as you breathe out, let's lower back down out of it. If you're standing, we'll come to mountain pose. If you're lying down, you can just rest the forehead on the backs of the hands. Take one more breath here. As you're ready to, if you're standing, we're moving on to the other side. And if you're lying down, you could experience perhaps the same back bend again. Maybe you'd like to try something different this time. I'm going to see if you can hear me and come down to the mat. Let's see. So if you're practicing dancer, of course, you're going to move on to the other side. All of those same things apply as we balance there. And if you're lying down onto your abdomen, perhaps locust pose, reaching the arms back and the legs up. Everybody sideways is hugging in and up. Back of the heart is lifting in and up. A Upper arm bones moving back. Take one more breath here. As you breathe out, lower the leg or lower the body back down and find rest. If you are standing, come on back down to the mat. We're all going to meet in a seated position, whatever feels most comfortable for you right now. And just button on our practice. Take a moment. Notice the sensations in your body. Perhaps feeling warmer now, or maybe more vibrant. Open the eyes if they were closed, and we'll bring one leg forward and tuck the other leg behind us. We'll find deer pose, or if pigeon pose is something that you love in your practice, you're welcome to practice that as well. So either here in deer or extending the leg behind for pigeon, square the shoulders toward the front and begin to walk the hands forward. So come out just till we start to feel sensation of stretch in the hip. We'll stay there and breathe. See if we need more. And if we do, we can walk the hands further out. We'll be here for a few more cycles of breath. Make any adjustments that you need to. And breathe deep. As you're ready to press down into the hands, let's begin to walk back in, lift the torso back up. If you're here in deer, simply leaning to the side, swinging back leg around to the front, and we'll change sides. Pigeon pose, same thing. You can change sides, extend the leg behind. We'll square the shoulders toward the front and begin to walk the hands forward. As always, as we move from side to side, it's most likely that we're going to find differences here. So we just note those differences. Just like you have your clipboard making your observations. No opinions needed right now. Hands could walk. Or further back in, unwinding. Here for just a few more breaths. As you're ready to press into the sit back up, walk back in. We'll all come to a seat. So we'll bring the back leg around to the front. Take the feet out a little bit wider apart. Walk the hands back, but keep the chest lifted up. And we'll let the knees just wash side to side. Massage across the tissues in the backs of the hips. Working so hard to hold us up in our practice today and throughout our day today. We'll make our way down onto the back. You can use your hands to support you, or if you'd like to float the hands and curl down one vertebra at a time, you can do that. Once we land there, the back of the head and the shoulders, the hips well supported. Let's bend the knees and put the feet down onto the mat. Walk the feet a little bit wider apart. Your arms can go where they're comfortable, closer to your sides, or if you'd like to, up and out, like a T shape. And here too, let's just wipe the knees, windshield wiper the knees from side to side. Maybe you'd like to continue this movement, or perhaps you'd like to stop on one side and stay for a while. Breathing space into the front body, grounding into the back body. And if the knees are over to one side, you can pick them up and over to the other. And again, if you're enjoying that movement, you can continue. Bring the knees back into the center. Slide the arms a little closer down by your sides. Let's get comfortable. If you'd like to extend the legs out to finish your practice here, you're welcome to do that. Perhaps keeping the knees bent and just letting them touch together feels more supportive for your back. On those days where you prefer to come back up to seated, of course, most welcome to do that. Arranging yourself in a way that feels comfortable, that feels relaxing, that feels supported to you. Eyes may be open or closed. You'll do what makes you feel the most comfortable each time that you come to the mat, even if it's different. Notice where your body is connecting with the ground beneath you, the back of the head, the shoulders, the hips, the arms and the legs. Take your attention to those places where you're feeling that connection. Gentle pressure of the body resting here. Feel the support holding you up. And let your body recognize that support so that it can soften. Shifting our awareness to our breath, which will be small, it will be soft now. Let the breath move on its own and let your awareness become the observer. We might notice that our attention drifts to another place. That noticing is mindfulness. We can gently guide the attention back to the point of focus that we started with. No matter how many times we guide the attention back, just know that that's practice, getting better at mindfulness. Continuing to practice that and being really kind to yourself all along the way. As you're ready to begin to gently expand your breath. Let each inhale breath that you take be just a little bit bigger than the one before. Beginning to bring some gentle movement back into your body. As you feel ready to, if the legs are extended, beginning to bend the knees and draw them in toward your chest. Taking your time, supporting yourself back up to a seated position. As we come up to seated, I wanted to share a quote with you that I thought really resonated with me. This is by the writer Mohsen Hamid. He says that empathy is about finding echoes of another person in yourself. And I think that when we come together in spaces and places like this, virtual though they may be, we can start to listen and we can start to hear those echoes. We bring palms together in front of the heart to close our practice, this gesture of honor. I'm honored to be with you today. I thank you so much for spending some time with me and spending some time for yourself. The light in my heart bows down to honor the light in your heart. Namaste.
Thank you, Lisa. That was so
You're
beautiful.
very welcome. You're so welcome.
That was lovely. Thank you.
You're
It was
welcome.
so lovely.
Thank you very much. Have a great day and a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone who joined us.
Thank
Come
you.
back and see us again. Have a
Thank
wonderful
you.
day.
Gotta put my-
Thank you.
Simona, you did make it. Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Janet's
Great
there.
class.
Oh my gosh. Jilly, Sandy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everybody's leaving. I'll have to
I know.
reconnect with everybody. Oh, so nice to see you all. So nice to see you. Ah, Anna.